What's up guys? Welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you'd like to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
Please let me know if you learn anything.
Got it. Then, I'll switch with Soei.
With that one unanswered question, the interview with Benimaru came to a close. Soei replaced Benimaru and stepped into the room. I grumbled to Soei as soon as we were seated across from each other.
You know you shouldn't be making too much fun of Benimaru.
That guy has always been a late bloomer in various areas of his life. I just felt that he would probably stay in the dark forever if I didn't talk to him.
Oh my, that's a valid point. Benimaru had stated that evolution could not occur without a successor, therefore it made sense that Soei would be concerned.
Let's just leave it at that, then. Regarding your current evolutionary state.
The evolution of Benimaru had an effect on Soei. Name: Soei. EP: 1,281,162. Race: Divine Oni. Fair Chaos Spirit. Dark Spirit Oni. Blessing: Flare Lord's Shadow. Title: Dark Shinobi. Magic: Dark Spirit Magic. Skill: Ultimate Gift, Moon King Tsukuyomi. Resistance: Nullification of physical attack, natural effects, nullification of abnormal condition, and nullification of mental attack. Really powerful. And he exhibits incredible resistance. You can only employ Holy Demon Attribute, Holy Sword techniques, or an ultimate sword of assault to defeat Soei. Regarding Soei's skill, Seal gave him the ultimate gift, Moon King Tsukuyomi. Thought Acceleration, Universal Perception, Eye of the Moon, Instant Kill, Ultra Speed, Mental Manipulation, Parallel Existence, Spatial Manipulation, and Multi-Layer Barrier are only a few of its many abilities.
Wait, you can now even utilize parallel existence?
I was so shocked that I had to ask, to which Soei gave me a cold response.
Yes, although you can't use more than one at once, unlike Lady Velgrand, I'm glad to say that one is more than sufficient.
That is certainly something to be pleased about. One by itself suffices. With this, Soei is getting closer and closer to being unbreakable. But the Eye of the Moon is arguably the most notable. With the capacity to control shadows, one might perform a variety of tasks without their opponent ever realizing they were there. Its broad applicability, it might impact an entire town, was what made it so distinctive. This skill could be utilized for assassination in addition to its specialization in information gathering.
His skill is truly impressive. I packed in as much as Soei wished to reproduce the ninja from Master's memories.
For some reason, I had the impression that there was a lot of stuff there, and now I see why.
The wonderful thing about Eye of the Moon is that a clone can likewise use it. Should Soei deploy clones to different locations and utilize Eye of the Moon for information dissemination, Telepathy Net might potentially provide access to global information.
I understand your pride in your work. The more I learned about it, the more I understood its potency. To put it another way, this was similar to an improved version of my surveillance spell, Argus. For the first time, he could now keep an eye on events happening all across the world and hear them. He was now a man of versatility and dependability. I would not hesitate to entrust Soei with all of our nation's intelligence operations in the future.
Alright, please continue to command the dark shadows in the service of our country. I'm granting you the new title of Darkness.
Everything I do is for Sir Rimuru.
Forget it, not for me, but for our nation.
Alright, I'm depending on you.
I thanked Soei after stating as much. Following that, I spent about an hour asking Soei about his concerns and how Soka and the others were doing. He informed me that Soka's existence value was 261,898, which was a rather high number, compared to the 5 members' existence values, which had increased to about 200,000. She was capable of fighting with the higher ranks and was on par with a lieutenant of a former demon lord. Her skills appeared to have improved significantly after this encounter. I'd heard Soei say that the best training was combat. It's important to remember, though, that just because you can do something, doesn't guarantee that others can too. Everybody has a distinct personality, as well as certain strengths and shortcomings. I hoped that Soei would not place as much pressure on his subordinates despite his obvious talent. It's possible that doing that would cause even the most motivated people to lose their drive.
Doing everything within our power for Sir Rimuru is only natural, right?
That isn't natural.
Don't you realize? Nobody will be able to follow you if that is all you think about. It is your responsibility as a leader to provide better care for your subordinates so they can successfully and happily work for an extended period of time, don't you think?
People will only follow you, after all, if you provide them with something worthwhile to do. It's obviously not enough to just have fun, there is still labor involved. Nevertheless, I continue to believe that having a sense of accomplishment is crucial. You won't be able to experience the satisfaction that comes with a job well done if the workload is consistently excessive. Furthermore, if you push yourself to finish your final load of work and then you're handed a ton of work, it's likely that I would be upset if it were me. You may say something like, "You do it," but Soei always managed to finish what needed to be done. If that occurred, the person would be forced to place the blame on themselves, which could lead to mental or even physical illness. That was the reason I was concerned.
I see. You're stating that I should utilize my tools more carefully, is that correct?
Stop looking down on your companions like tools. While maintaining one's dignity in one's work is extremely vital, it shouldn't be imposed upon you. Your subordinates will be overjoyed if you, as their superior, can acknowledge their efforts.
Ah, I see. To be honest, I get the most joy in Sir Rimuru's praise.
Is it accurate to describe him as overly serious or burdened?
Well, why don't you use this chance to meet with your subordinates as well?
I see. I will make sure to look after them more carefully going forward because it is my duty as their superior to be aware of how they are feeling.
Remember to exercise moderation in all that you do.
For the time being, at least, I shared my thoughts with him. And then, Soka and the others wrote me a thank you note. The letter was stained with happy tears, and I felt satisfied that I had done the right thing. Gabiru showed up for the interview after dinner.
I, Gabiru, have come to visit because I was summoned by Lord Rimuru.
Even now, or rather tonight, Gabiru was bursting with enthusiasm. I offered him a seat and told him to keep quiet because it was nighttime. I had Shuna make us some tea and get down to business.
This time, you really did a terrific job. All of you made it back alive thanks to your efforts. I want to personally thank you since you did a great job persevering to the end.
As a personal statement rather than from the perspective of a country, I was appreciative of Gabiru. Numerous people would have died if Gabiru had been unable to hold out.
Sir Rimuru, I am very moved by what you said.
Gabiru started crying. I was really pleased. I didn't want to disrupt Gabiru's emotional state, so I waited for him to calm down.
I couldn't have prevailed or even survived without Sir Rimuru. After hearing Lord Gadra's whisper, I was certain that the voice belonged to Sir Rimuru.
Oh, he did hear CL's voice.
Huh? Well, kind of.
I chose to accept Gabiru's misinterpretation as it would be difficult to clarify and it would be best to keep CL's presence a secret.
I was aware of it. I realized that if I hadn't acquired that power, the fight would have been impossible to win. I refused to take credit for myself since I've always been cautioned not to get carried away.
Gabiru answered, but I could see by the serenity on his face that he meant it.
You've matured.
Even just hearing you say that makes me very happy.
Gabiru began to cry in the same manner as before. I gave him a towel because a handkerchief was no longer sufficient. Although Gabiru's condition was as terrible, he had grown remarkably. Name: Gabiru, EP, 1,263,824. Race: True Dragonute. Fair Chaos Spirit. Water Spirit Dragon. Blessing: Rimuru's Blessing. Title: Draco Lord. Skill: Ultimate Gift, Psychology King Moodmaker. Intrinsic skill: Magic Perception, Ultra Instinct, Dragon Skin, Flame Breath, Thunder Breath. Resistance: Pain Cancellation, Resistance to Abnormal Conditions, Resistance to Natural Effects, Resistance to Physical Attacks, Resistance to Mental Attacks, and Resistance to Holy Demonic Attacks. He had surpassed Soei in strength before I even realized it. Another of CL's masterpieces is Gabiru's Ultimate Gift, also known as Psychology King Moodmaker. Although it was not self-acquired, it was still not anything to belittle. Gabiru was able to obtain this power since he had the aptitude. Thought acceleration, change destiny, unexpected effects, spatial manipulation, and multi-layer barrier were the 5 primary abilities. If he could completely manage his excess strength, he could also learn Demon Lord Haki. The most hazardous power was Change Destiny, which could only be used once per day but had the capacity to completely change the course of a fight against a more powerful foe. If someone else had discovered this instead of Gabiru, what may have happened? Without a doubt, the strongest person would have been Diablo if they had obtained Change Destiny. After giving it some thinking, I realized that Gabiru was actually a pretty fantastic guy. What surprised me the most was how he fought. Gabiru shared with me the part of the fight he was most proud of after wiping away his tears.
When the enemy's spear came at me, I laughed and hit it with mine.
Well, this is. Gabiru wielded the Vortex Spear, a unique grade magical weapon. Although it was still just a unique grade, it was rumored to be the Lizardmen's hidden treasure. Even so, when I learned that the mythical grade Seryu, Blue Dragon, spear had been vanquished by the Vortex Spear, I assumed it was a hoax of some sort.
It appears that the winner is not decided by the difference in performance.
Even though Gabble was laughing, I thought it was very clear. I could have pushed myself to accept it if the opposing weapon was a legendary grade, but not a mythical grade. There was just one possibility.
Gabble applied his skill to his vortex spear without realizing it. The spear was perhaps only able to endure without breaking because of the ultimate level of protection.
Yes, it appears to be the case. That's another area in which Gabble excelled. He's a hard worker who doesn't stand out due to his normal demeanor. He was a multi-talented man who could perform research, engage in combat, and everything in between. He has a lot of potential for the future.
Could you please give that vortex spear to me for a little while? I'd like Karabe to bring it back to life.
What?
That is, we will inherit the weapon's experience and create a new one. It could even develop into a mythical grade because I will supply Hurikane for the material.
Although Hurikane was still in short supply, Gabble would not be wasting it. I was determined to give Gabble a stronger weapon as a reward for this battle, one that would enable him to withstand any difficult encounters in the future. I would come up with an alternate plan if Gabble refused to give up his ancestral weapon.
Please, by all means, carry it out.
Once more in tears, Gabble left the spear with me. Gabble would grow stronger now that he had an even better weapon. His existence value would likewise rise if he was acknowledged as a master of mythical grade. It would also make Gabble more resistant because he may transform into a semi-spiritual life form. The Tenshoshu, or Heavenly Flying Crowd, Gabble's servants, now had an average existence value of more than 200,000. I hoped that in the future, they would still be there for Gabble. Even though Gabble had sobbed the entire time, the interview went well. Late in the evening, in the exclusive members-only dining area of a particular restaurant, I turned to face Geld, refusing to acknowledge the lovely elf ladies.
How's your situation?
I'm doing well. I won't be shattering any more cups because I've become used to this power.
Geld chuckled and took a nimble sip of his wine. A regular-sized glass resembled a sake cup in his big hands.
Well, I didn't call you here today for anything other than you. I had the idea that we would raise a glass in celebration of your comfort.
I'm appreciative. It brings me unimaginable joy to hear Sir Rimuru say things like these.
I could tell Geld meant it by the thrill in his voice and the look in his eyes, even though he was typically a quiet guy. I gave a nod in return and we raised our glasses to a toast.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel. A big thanks to the AnimeKouhai patrons who made this video possible. Arijit Das, Curtis Loban, Judah Herrera, Steven Madison, Home Like Drop, Vasto Lord, Martin Ramos, Marl Barsha, Aditya Vyas, Hansel Ortega, Efrain Hernandez, Luca Gaming WTF, William Locke. Thank you so much for helping out. I'll see you guys in the next video.